But of course, with so many hurting in the Lone Star State, we do start this hour in Texas, where state officials now say floods have taken the lives confirmed of 109 people. The death toll expected to only rise as there are still at this hour many more missing. So a short time ago, Texas officials held a news conference to update on the search efforts. And while they did give that update, they were also met with some pretty tough questions on how and when and even if alerts went out to warn people of the approaching life-threatening flash floods. Here's that exchange.
What I can tell you, when I was first notified, it was around the 4 to 5 area. One of my sergeants was in dispatch when the first calls started coming in, the actual 911 calls come in. It was between 4 or 5 when I got notified. Okay, but prior to that, in that 3 to 4 area, my understanding is, and we're in the process of trying to put a timeline. You know, that's going to take a little bit of time. As I've told you several times, that is not my priority this time. There's 3 priorities. That's locating the people out there, identifying and notifying the next of kin. That is what I'm taking as my job as sheriff here to do. Okay.
With all due respect, sir, I think that the community here is asking these questions. What happened? When did it happen? Was the emergency manager awake at the time? Did they push the button to issue an emergency alert?
Sir, it's not that easy when you just push a button, okay? There's a lot more to that. And we've told you several times.
So did it happen, sir?
I can't tell you at this time. Okay.
CBS News correspondent Nidia Cavazos live once again, where the people are asking those questions. You're in Kerrville right now. So it's one thing to hear reporters ask those tough questions, but are you hearing those questions start to be asked by the people who are there cleaning up and volunteering and no doubt mourning the lost?
Reed, this is definitely a question that we keep hearing from many community members. They're asking, why was this so tragic, and could anything else have been done differently in this situation? Could people have been removed, evacuated from the most vulnerable areas along this Guadalupe River? But local officials have seemed to be dodging these type of questions, and they say that their priority right now is in the search efforts that are underway and trying to locate any potential survivors and in notifying family members of those that did not make them. But let's take a listen to what went on this morning.
We understand you have many questions.
The judge is not here.
We understand that, but right now, this team up here is focused on bringing people home. That's our focus. All those questions will be answered, but the priority right now
It seems like you're
is bringing people home.
We totally understand that, and we value the incredible work that is being done by those first responders. We're seeing them out there muddy and sweaty and grinding it out day after day. But your community is asking these questions.
And we will get answers. Right now, all of our resources are focused to recovery.
Who was in charge of the emergency operations center at the time that was getting any briefing?
Do we have another question?
Again, local officials are emphasizing that now is not the moment to be asking those type of questions in terms of what could have been done differently, were the alerts sent out in time, and it is the fact that the alerts sent out by the National Weather Service were sent out in the middle of the night and early morning Friday when most people were asleep. So while, they are dodging these questions, local officials say that right now at this moment they're asking for prayers for those who are currently mourning and prayers for those families who are still awaiting answers from their loved ones who remain missing, including the young girls from Camp Mystic.
And we think about all of those families. It's my understanding that nobody's been found alive since Friday. The clock is ticking. Are they awaiting a little bit more time to pass before officially they say we're going from rescue to a recovery mission? Because typically you start to hear that transition from rescue to recovery. What are you hearing?
Today was the first time that local officials recognized that nobody has necessarily been rescued alive since Friday. The last live rescue happened Friday, but what we do know is that local officials again continue to say that they're focused on the search efforts here. Now, it is a pretty loud scene out here. It has been. We continue to hear the helicopters. We are actually right next to a group of young volunteers who are combing and picking up the debris. And all along this river, we continue to see the many different teams who are out here. We see volunteers on horses. We see boats as well who are along this river. And as the water continues to go down, we continue to see more of what's left behind. We see the trees that have fallen down. These trees are in the middle of large piles of debris. We have clothing there. We have different house articles. among those debris. And this is exactly what local officials have said, that this has been the challenge for the rescue teams. They're coming across very large pile of debris. It's layers and layers, and they're having to search through these without any sort of interruption. So they've also been working on streamlining the efforts, the volunteering efforts, saying this has to go through the Salvation Army. There has to be a streamlined process here so that they don't interfere with the ongoing operations. But for now, officials say it's a matter of praying for those families who continue to wait for some positive answers here.
Yeah, Nidia, I say it often on this broadcast. Oftentimes, we as reporters echo what first responders say by way of the number of the missing, the number of the dead, but we know that everybody is somebody in those numbers. Thank you so much for bringing us that story from a hurting community. And I'm hurting for the people who have lost so much, but I'm also heartened, Zoe, to hear that when she says just over my shoulder and over this shoulder, young volunteers, we thank them, right? Let's talk about the weather they are facing as they volunteer.
Well, luckily they don't have to worry about all too much additional rainfall. If you live in that area near Kern County, you should be able to pick up the pieces. There should be a good amount of sunshine along with seasonable temperatures. It's down near Houston that they are expecting a little bit more shower and thunderstorm activity. But this area, I just kind of want to continue to focus on Bertram, Texas. That saw over 20 inches because they were right near the area of Texas that is in the most exceptional drought. That little bullseye just below my feet, you can actually see that's where about 20 inches of that rain poured down through. And the water is the soil is hydrophobic. So as the water falls on it, it all pours down. It acts like concrete, gets funneled through. Unfortunately, that's exactly what we saw. And like I said, we are going to continue to see more showers and thunderstorms developing this afternoon, but it's not necessarily going to be over that direct area. So let's break down the details on exactly what we can expect later today, because we are going to be seeing majority of that moisture pushing off to the northeast. Right now, all of those flood warnings are on the Oklahoma-Arkansas border. But for Texas, for this area, this is the one that saw 15 to 25 inches in red, and then Camp Mystic, that little area right there, not expecting all too much additional this afternoon. It's just to the south that they are. Tomorrow afternoon, there will be more isolated to scattered shower and thunderstorm activity. Keep that in mind, an additional 1/2 inch is possible. But then by Thursday and Friday, these are the days that sunny skies, very dry air will officially move in, and these will be the best days to actually see a lot of evaporation. Additional rainfall totals are only going to be, like I said, maybe 1/2 inch in those areas that saw upwards of 15 to 25 inches. So keep that in mind. We should be able to pick up the pieces. Take a deep breath. Hopefully you should be able to, again, see those river levels getting lower and lower in the coming days. Back to you.